It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 3 films released on September 4th, 2009, Labor Day weekend, which is usually not a good weekend for movies. This weekend is no exception. There is at least one good movie that we'll eventually get to, but, maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, because we have the first movie here, which features Sandra Bullock starring in a movie where she wins a very important award at the end of the year for this film. No, it's not the Academy Award. That comes later in the year with the Blind Side. But no, this movie is more important than the Academy Award. It's the Razzie Award-winning movie for her, and clearly you can see why with this trailer that I'm about to show you.
Mary.
Yes?
Do you ever stop working long enough to, go out, go on a date?
Oh, well, I have a date this evening. Yeah, Steve. His mother probably thinks he's gay. So my parents are no doubt pimping me out to test his sexuality. Thanks. Better get going. I'm gonna fall in love and register at Barnes & Normal. Have a beautiful wedding. Little tiny plastic bride and groom on top of a cake, posing like this.
If you ever want to see any grandchildren, you're gonna have to burn those damn boots.
For Mary,
Mayor, your date is here.
He's hot.
it was love at first sight.
Hey, Mary. I'm Steve.
He's so not gay.
For Steve,
Oh, wow. Oh, you okay?
it was not.
Yeah.
There's a hurricane off the coast of Texas.
I gotta go to work. I really wish you could be there.
This fall,
I'm going to go meet Steve at his next job. Yeah, yes, it's a storm.
she's hitting the road.
Stop, please! Moon pies! Want to go have Steve?
And the deeper they get,
You can't stay here.
But you said...
I'm a guy. We say things we don't mean.
Well, then, how do I know you mean what you're saying now when you said you didn't mean what you said?
Call the police. So All About Steve is the story of Sandra Bullock, who is a woman who writes crossword puzzles for the Sacramento Herald. She's loquacious to a fault. When kids at a career day make fun of her for being single, she accepts a blind date with Steve, played by Bradley Cooper, the cameraman for a CNN-like news network. Within minutes, she's deciding that he's the man for her. Quickly pulled off by her constrained verbiage and over-the-top advances, he makes an offhand remark about going on the road with her, then splits. Moonstruck, she writes a sappy crossword puzzle, loses her job, and decides to follow him and the news team, crisscrossing the Southwest. Steve's team eggs her on, then she falls into a mine shaft, and she and Steve become a story. It a love story. I'm not even kidding. That's literally how this is written on IMDb. Don't believe me? Take a look. Yeah. That's literally how it's written. But I mean, good lord, this movie is a train wreck. I mean, even the poster that I'm looking at right here, which I'll show you right here. I mean, look at how bad that is. Look at how just... Nobody was even on the same set where they shot that photo. You could just tell they took scenes from the movie, just took various actors from various parts of the film, just put it on there. It's one of the worst posters I have ever seen in my entire life. But, it makes sense because this is one of the worst comedies ever made. And, now I know what you're thinking out there. Oh, well, why do you gotta be like that? I mean, it's a stupid romantic comedy. I mean, can't you just have fun with it? Let me put it this way. Switch the genders around. Instead of Sandra Bullock, let's just say for the sake of the argument here, replace Sandra Bullock with Bradley Cooper, and it's Bradley Cooper in the same role as Sandra Bullock is, and Sandra Bullock is in the role of Bradley Cooper. Tell me how this is not a psychological thriller if it's that way. But no, because it's Sandra Bullock and she's America's sweetheart, no, of course it's got to be this well-meaning, heartfelt romantic comedy about somebody who is just, she's just too sweet and not a psychotic stalker and completely over her goddamn head, because that's exactly what this woman is. She is nuts. She is completely wacko, and the movie should not be celebrating her like this. But no, this keeps going through the entire fucking movie. And just as the synopsis says, it doesn't help that everyone else around these two people keep egging on Sandra Bullock, just keep going with it. Even though Thomas Hayden Church and Ken Jeong, who plays the other, who's also in The Hangover as well, are in on the ride too. And it's just like, Like, nobody in this movie is likable. There is not one person in this movie that you give a shit about. And then by the end of the movie, where it's just like, you know, where they have to have that heartfelt message at the end of it, where it's just like, you know, maybe Mary isn't the crazy one. Maybe we're all the crazy ones. No, you're all the crazy ones, including her. This town should be blown up. Somebody should nuke this fucking town and everybody involved in it, so we never have to deal with this movie ever again. Because, good Lord, what a disastrous movie. What a disastrous movie. A movie that, it's amazing that Sandra Bullock's Oscar chances didn't go completely out the door with this movie. And yet, maybe it's because the Blind Side came out after this. Because if it came out before this movie and then this film came out, there's no way she would have won the Oscar for this movie. Absolutely no way. But, hey, she's a part of history. She's a part of history where in the same weekend she wins the Razzie for this, she's rewarded for an Academy Award-winning performance in The Blind Side. So, take that for what you will. But, yeah, this film, oh, dear God, this movie, it's amazing that this isn't on my list of the worst movies ever made. Because this is one of those movies where it so could have easily been on that list. But then again, a lot of bad movies are coming out in 2009 that could have easily been on the worst of the year list. Bride Wars, at the beginning of the year, was a perfect example of one. And, you know, New in Town. We just had a couple of other ones we've talked about over the last couple of months. But, yeah, this is definitely up there with some of the worst comedies of the year. And one of the worst comedies ever made. This is an ungodly mess of a movie. This is unbelievable how bad this movie is. And if you still don't believe it, again, shitty looking poster for a shitty movie. Avoid this like the plague. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you about this movie. So, just avoid it. Just don't even bother with it. Your life will be better off if you never see it. So yeah, there you go. That's all about Steve for you. So let's go ahead and move on to some better movies. This one, not so much, but it's definitely a hell of a lot better than All About Steve. This is Gerard Butler in Gamer.
To Slayers, the ultimate online multiplayer video game. Yes! Where you, the gamer,
Simon, I'm playing you.
have complete control over a real-life human being. Ready to begin?
It's gonna get me killed.
On September 4th,
This is not something you can control.
you lose. He dies.
Your wife and your daughter need you.
Turn me loose.
Gerard Butler, Michael C. Hall, and Ludacris. Gamer, rated R. In theater September 4th.
Now, honestly, if the film had just stopped there, you probably could have had something really fun overall. But nope, this is a movie where they basically handed Mark Neverdine and Brian Taylor the keys to do whatever the hell they want to because of what they did with the Craig films. Here, take the keys, do whatever you want with it, get as crazy as you want to. And the end result is a very disjointed and ugly, ugly movie. But it has a great premise to it. Gerard Butler stars as a participant in an online game in which participants can control human beings as players, with Logan Lerman from Percy Jackson as the player who controls them. You have a cast that also includes Michael C. Hall as the bad guy, Ludacris, Amber Valletta, Terry Crews, Alison Lohman, John Leguizamo, Sam Witwer, and Zoe Bell. And again, if it was just what the trailer was showing you there, this thing could have worked very well, but unfortunately, this is a movie where they basically go completely over the top dark for no particular reason, and creepy and ugly. Like, there's parts in the movie where they show some of these players who are controlling these people in the game that are just nothing but disgusting, weird, creepy nerds who play as women and just do nothing but just have them have sex all the time. And that's, it's basically like they're masturbating, except it's not really. It's just kind of like it just doesn't make any sense at all. Why this movie decided to throw that in there, because it makes no sense at all. And I want to get behind this movie because there are some good ideas to it, and the casting overall isn't terrible. Most of the people in here are doing their parts and doing a good job, but at the same time, it doesn't help when the film goes insanely. It can't decide whether it wants to go dark with it or go insanely over the top, because Michael C. Hall in this movie goes insanely over the top for no reason at all, and it just completely ruins the ebb and flow of the movie. You need to have a balance. You need to have a balance like something like The Running Man, which is very much what this movie is supposed to be, a modern-day version of The Running Man. The Running Man worked because it balanced out the comedic moments with the darker moments, and it was a ton of fun overall. This, it wants to try to be one thing or the other, and can't decide which one, and it just falls apart because of it. It just isn't an enjoyable film. Plus, it also doesn't help that this is one of those movies where, kind of like we talked about with District 9, and, you give these two guys a bigger budget to work with, And instead of making something that actually fits, gives them more opportunities to do what they want, they make a film that, excuse me, I was trying to hold that in, but no, I can't do it. But you try to make a movie where you get a bigger budget, so you have free range to do whatever you want. You get to do that, but you don't make a good movie out of it. This thing cost $50 million to make, which is much less than the Crank movies did. I think Crank High Voltage was only about, $20 million. And so you give them a $50 million budget, and this is the end result of it. You get this, you get a movie like this, and then they do and then following that they do Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, and then it pretty much just kills their overall film directing career as a whole, because nobody ever wants to work with these guys after the Crank after Ghost Rider. And it's just like, it's amazing how these two their careers pretty much fell apart as soon as they made Jonah Hex, where they wrote the script for that, and they also did, of course, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. And it just really is a bummer, man, because it is something where there is a good concept here, there's a good plot here, but it just isn't enough to really help the film when it can't decide which direction it wants to go in, and it can't decide if it wants to be dark or sadistic black comedy, or does it want to be a very serious film. It can't figure out the balance. It's trying to be like The Running Man, except The Running Man knew the balance. This one really does not, and like I said, it's a shame, because there's a lot here that I thought could be really cool to see, and it just isn't there. So, yeah, unfortunately, a skip on Gamer, even though, I mean, there are times when it could be fun, but it's just not enough to save the film overall, so yeah. You can skip Gamer as well. So, 2 movies that were not very good, but at least we end the week off with a better movie. Let's take a look at the last film we have here, and that is Mike Judge's latest film, Extract.
The creator of Office Space. Everything you know about employment.
Let me introduce you to the new temps. This is Cindy. Hi.
Hey.
And, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Communication.
Does she work here? She's a temp. She's a tramp? Temp.
And teamwork.
I'm just gonna sit here.
He's about to get blown right off.
That is messed up.
Stress is a killer. You should try smoking.
That's a drug.
It's a flower.
Extract. Rated R.
So Mike Judge, of course, is the guy who did Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. He also did Office Space and Idiocracy, which did not become big hits at the box office, but did eventually go on to have cult followings. And this one wasn't a hit at the box office either, but then again, it didn't really help that the marketing campaign was not really all that strong. I mean, the fact that they had to go to Paramount and get Beavis and Butthead to come out of retirement to promote this movie for no particular reason. I mean, it's great to see Beavis and Butthead and all, but it's just kind of like, why are they here?
Good evening. I'm Butthead. Tonight, Beavis and I will be discussing an important new film called Extract. Fire! In this movie, there's this dude named Bateman who owns a factory that makes vanilla extract. Bateman.
I mean, I get it. That's Mike Judge's nest egg right there. But at the same time, it's just like, they have nothing to do with the movie. So why even bother having them coming out to promote the film in general? And it's just like, if they had some connection to it, like the next year, they would have them at the beginning of Jackass 3D. But that made sense because Jackass and Beavis and Butthead were on MTV. It made sense for Beavis and Butthead to be at the beginning of that movie because that's where it all got started for them. But here, I don't know what they were thinking by having them in that little bit of a preview in the marketing, because it didn't really help the film overall. Even though the film itself isn't really bad either. It's a story where you are making fun of the working conditions of a company from the perspective of the owner rather than the employee. So it's kind of like the opposite view of Office Space. It's literally a companion piece to Office Space, where you have Jason Bateman at the forefront, and then you have Mila Kunis, Kristen Wiig, Ben Affleck, J.K. Simmons, Clifton Collins Jr., and Dustin Milligan among the cast in the film. And it's a good movie overall. It's definitely one of the weaker films Mike Judge has made, I think, compared to Office Space, Beavis and Butthead, and also Idiocracy. This is definitely the weakest of the 4 films he's done, but still not a terrible movie overall. I just think there was really not enough there to really sell the film to a lot of people, and that's why it kind of came and went when it came out in theaters. I mean, it did eventually make its budget back overall, just barely. But it only cost $8 million to make it, made $10 million. But, yeah, most people pretty much have forgotten about it, unfortunately. And it's a shame because there is a good movie in here, and it is a really good film. I thought Ben Affleck was really good in the supporting role overall. I thought Kristen Wiig was very good. Mila Kunis, J.K. Simmons, David Koechner has a role in here that's pretty good. There is a lot of good things about the film overall, but I don't think it was enough there for a mass success overall. Plus, it didn't help that the marketing campaign overall really kind of fell apart in trying to sell the movie to most people. Yeah, it just literally kind of came and went. So, I mean, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not even a bad movie at all. It's a pretty good movie overall, but it's definitely one of Mike Judge's weaker films, if not his weakest film as a director. But it's Mike Judge doing what Mike Judge does best, so Mike Judge usually can never do any wrong. And this one definitely isn't wrong, but it's definitely the weaker of his films overall. But it's still pretty good, so I do recommend Extract. And so with all that said, we wrap up another issue of Time About the Movies, where the next time we meet, we take a look at 5 more movies, including the latest film from Tyler Perry, I Can Do Bad All By Myself, starring Taraji P. Henson. We also have Focus Features make their second animated film of the year after Coraline 9, which features the casting of Elijah Wood, Jennifer Connelly, and John C. Reilly. We also have the remake of Sorority Row. We also have Kate Beckinsale in Whiteout. And one of 2 Disney documentaries that will be coming out within the next year, Walt and El Guapo. And we'll take a look at those movies coming up tomorrow on the show. So definitely be on the lookout for that. With all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button, and the bell, because that's where you get updates on when new videos come out. And we do post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.